I'm alive and I'm still free. You can't take the sky from me. Initiate the restoration protocol or evacuate.
Oh, mother. And here I figured you'd had enough of me by now. You could have undone the calamity itself, but instead you want to stay in a world like this. I gotta admit, kid, I ain't yet put much thought in that idea of carrying on with you here. We can't go back no more, but I suppose we could go wherever we please. And if anyone's left out there, I sure would like to see the look in their faces when we dock this thing right on their doorstep. Getting ahead of myself, though. I'm gonna need a first mate. What do you say?
The reason for the decision was I kind of figured it as almost a paradoxical time loop, that if you set everything back before the calamity, what stops the calamity from happening again? Does anyone even remember what's happened of, the kid, or does anything happen? So, ultimately, this was an incredible game. It's incredible how you can make a great game and you don't need grit and, this dirty, mucky look to the game. I don't mean that in graphics, so to speak. I almost mean it like an environment. Like, you see a lot of games today just have this very dark environment. This game did it with brilliant colors. The voice acting was incredible for the narrator. The music was fantastically done. The graphics were great. The controls were fine. It's a top game, folks. For the indie scene, this is definitely what we're starting to look for. And this is what you're looking for in the indie scene. At least what I'm looking for is a game that seemed to be made with a lot of love and really seemed to be made with a lot of passion. Got a lot to be proud of. This was one of my top games for. I mean, it's hard to put it into a list of the top 5 or top 10 or anything, but it is one of my. It'll always have a special place, I think, for me. I'm glad I've played it, and thank you to Titan Aku for recommending it to me. Yeah, it's hard to say enough really good things on it. It was very polished, and I guess that's something you don't see in a ton of games. It does look like it. They took a great deal of time with creating it, fleshing out the story and fleshing out everything, and it's incredible. Everything, all the dialogue except at the very, very end of the game, was all the narrator. Even other people's voices. And I guess what really gives that big sense of love into the game was that, when you equip different weapons, the flamethrower and the pike, first you fry them, then you stick them. Just different things that they put in that some people might not ever hear. You don't see that in a lot of games today. But, no, I was really pleased with this game. Definitely have a lot to be proud of. This is one of the better indie games that I've played, and for $15, I believe it is now, folks, it's definitely worth picking up. There's so much in the game that I missed, just things that you can complete. There's that other ending that, you know, you can see what happens. And I think it's one of those games just as a chance to experience it yourself. I do feel like you miss something watching someone else play a game, that you don't actually get to experience it yourself. Almost like an audiobook. You know, there's plenty of people who think that the audiobook is great, and it's fine, that there's nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing quite like reading it yourself. And, you know, some people, actually, I think it's a great comparison. I think a lot of people might scratch their head and say, you know, I don't get it. It's just a book. You know, who doesn't matter who reads it to you or what. But there's something when you're reading it yourself, you can make your own stops in it. You can make your own kind of pace that you read it at. You know, at some points in a book, I'll read more frantic as it gets more action-oriented. Other places, I'll start to slow down a little bit, and, you know, I think that's a lot like LP. That you see my pace of the game and you see my take on it, but, you know, your own is also, it's what makes you, you know, if you're passionate about gaming and you really love it, it's not about how many times you can curse at people in a multiplayer games or how many faces you can stomp in these. It's about the sheer enjoyment of the game. And I think that's a message that's been forgotten a lot, honestly, in online gaming and gaming in general, that it seems to be about just becoming the best, and the enjoyment almost seems to become secondary. So, you know, I would encourage you, pick up this game, sit back, and just enjoy it. You know, I hope you enjoyed the LP. I certainly had a great time playing it. It was a phenomenal time. Is there a little more? Begin the journey with all your weapons and XP, new shrine, not on distillery. Use the shrine for the toughest challenge. I think I am going to go back and do all that at some point, but not in an LP. So folks, as always, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed it, and tune into the other projects. Also, for other LPs and stuff, please check out www.gameanyone.com/Toegoff, and you'll see some of my other stuff there. Thanks for watching, folks.